Okay, so guys, I'm going to get started because we got a lot to cover here. For those of you who know me well, know that I am obsessed with AI, and I have been for a long time. Dating back into the advent of the internet, I saw the times were changing very quickly. And I think when it really became clear to me that the world was changing super, super rapidly was in like 2013. One of my heroes, Peter Diamandis, a billionaire entrepreneur and tech investor, started a thing called Singularity University, where they would bring all the brightest minds in the world into one place, and they would have discussions about the advent of technology in society. And I don't think I missed one video. Because I'm so obsessed with it, I often talk about it, and it's always amazing to me how many people I talk about that kind of give me that RCA dog look. Like I've heard of AI and I've heard of ChatGPT, but they really haven't used it much, and they really aren't aware of just how fast things are changing right now. So we are actually starting a separate company all about educating people about the onslaught of AI, robotics, the fourth industrial revolution into society, because we feel like even though I'm passionate about it, most people are going to be blindsided by it. So of course, the first people I wanted to talk to was realtor partners and financial planner partners. So with that said, the introduction of this, as AI and automation advance, crucial human abilities include curiosity, critical thinking, and asking insightful questions. More than just solutions, we need flexible intelligence, the skills to continually learn, adapt, and solve problems in a new way. In an exponential future, and I'm going to explain to you what that means here in a minute, knowing the answers is not going to be the goal. Rather, knowing how to ask the questions to find the answers will be the goal. So today we're going to be talking about some of the pivotal turning points for me, from linear to exponential, a paradigm shift, talking to you about what exponential technology means, accelerating, speeding up critical tasks to amplify, expand your capabilities and to serve more clients, outperform and surpass the competition by leveraging AI, multiply, allowing AI to handle repetitive, low-level work, and then unburden, offload tedious tasks to AI assistants. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about, I'm 63, guys. I'm older than most of you. In fact, I think I'm older than all of you. But, in my lifetime, I remember when there were 7 channels on TV. I remember when Betamax came out and I could actually watch a movie on demand. It blew my mind. And then I remember when VHS came out and then wiped out Betamax. And then we, of course, had, 8-track tapes and then cassette tapes and then CDs. And I don't own any more CDs. And I used to have hundreds of them. So I've been watching this technology unfold right before my eyes since I could remember. My first computer that I bought was in 1989. Windows hadn't even been invented yet. Back then, you needed to be able to write Lotus Notes and DOS. And I knew the computer was a massive tool. I just didn't have it in me to learn this type of stuff. But in 1995, I started the very first online auction company, predating eBay by about 3 years, called the Collectible Trader. And it was from an idea that I had because my clients I used to be the director of Georgetown Galleries in Washington, D.C. And my clients would always say, whenever I try and sell something, I always get pennies on the dollar. And I thought, I need to create a place where people can buy and sell between each other. So I contracted a company to start building the website for us. I got about $400,000 from investors to get this thing started. Everybody thought it was brilliant. Problem, there was only 5 million people on the web at the time, by the way, guys. Problem was is that I had the vision, I didn't have the technical expertise. And what wound up happening was that years later, I think about 3 years later, eBay came out, and it literally made me cry every time I saw eBay. The one thing that I knew back then was that we eventually, every household in America was going to have a computer. I had the vision to see that. What I didn't have the vision for was to know that not only would every home have a computer, they'd have several computers, and that every person in the United States, or almost every person, would have a handheld computer, which we call a smartphone, whether it's an Apple iPhone, or for those of you that don't know any better who have Samsungs, we all know that they're not just phones. They take video, they take pictures, you can access the world's information, you can check your bank accounts. And I don't know if you guys remember, those of you that are old enough, if you talk to somebody back then and say, you just order it online, they go, wait, I'm not putting my credit card information online. Are you out of your mind? Not to mention putting things like your social security number. Now, we don't think twice about that now, right? So we as human beings have a tendency to look at things linearly. It's almost impossible for us to think exponentially. So linear is the line in green here. An exponential curve is the one that you're looking at in yellow. So here's an example of an exponential rate. So imagine that somebody was running, and when they began running, they were at 1 mile an hour. By the time they took their first step, it would double to 2 miles an hour. By the time they took their second step, 4 miles an hour. By their third step, they'd be going 8 miles an hour. Going all the way down to the ninth step, they would be going 512 miles an hour. That is exponential growth. And that is where we're at right now with technology. People have no idea just how fast society and the human species is changing right now. I don't want to get too far off into the weeds. I could talk about this for hours, but this is exponential growth. This is where we're at with technology right now. If you remember that yellow line, the very bottom, that's what we call the knee of the curve. We're at the knee of the curve of probably the biggest technological explosion in human history. Now, let me ask you a question. You can unmute yourself. What do these two corporations have in common? Does anybody want to answer?
They were first to the market, and now they're gone.
Yeah.
Okay. So Stefan was right on one of them.
You
Kodak.
get a cookie, Stefan.
Yeah. Kodak actually invented the digital camera, but at the time it was 1 megapixel. And the upper management of the company completely shot the entire idea down, because in their mind, they were in the film and development business as well as selling cameras. They did not want to cut off themselves at the knee by getting rid of developing film or selling film. They didn't understand the nature of exponential growth. They didn't know that 1 megapixel camera was quickly going to become as good, if not better, than a regular camera when taking pictures. And as a result, they went bankrupt in 2012. Now, the Kodak name has been bought, and they're trying to rebuild Kodak. Because of their short-sightedness, they weren't able to take advantage of something that they actually invented. Blockbuster had an opportunity to buy Netflix for $50 million. And again, they were in the model of renting VHS and DVDs. They didn't have the foresight to understand that eventually those were going to go by the way of the dodo, and that people would be streaming. They didn't have the technology then, but eventually the technology was coming soon enough that they would be able to stream movies on television. And as a result, they went bankrupt. And now Netflix is worth over $214 billion. So now we're going to get to the meat of the stuff, what we're here to talk about. So you guys AI has been around for a long time. If you've been using Siri on your iPhone, you're using AI. If you're looking at Facebook, Facebook uses artificial intelligence to deliver what it thinks you want to know. AI is in many different forms. The one you've been hearing about lately is what we call large language model AI, which is ChatGPT, which was started by OpenAI. So on the right here, you see the logo for Bing because Microsoft invested $18 billion into ChatGPT so they could use ChatGPT throughout all of their programs. Google has another large language model called Bard, which I don't care for as much as ChatGPT. And then one of the original employees from OpenAI that started ChatGPT left and started a company called Anthropic, and they have something called Claude. Now, ChatGPT and Claude both have free versions of this that you can use. Bing, what makes Bing kind of cool is that Bing actually has access to the internet as of like today. ChatGPT, it has access to the internet up until I think it was the summer of this last year. But if you use Bing is using ChatGPT and it is actually locked into the internet, which is important because uh, these large language models have read every book ever written, any publication ever printed or published. It has the world's information at its fingertips and is able to decipher this information at lightning speed. So I'm going to now take you and I'm going to show you, we're going to look at ChatGPT and I'm going to show you some of the ways that you could be using ChatGPT as a realtor, or in Stefan's case, as a financial planner. We have, let's see, I wanted to see, my buddy Nick has joined us now. And Nick, I'm going to ask you to unmute for a second because Nick is one of my best friends. We meet every week. He's a financial planner. And as much as I am a geek about AI, Nick was the first one to tell me, dude, you got to see this. And he showed me ChatGPT. Nick can only be here for a short time. And I knew Stefan and there was going to be a few other financial planners to join us. I wanted Nick to just chime in and share what he uses ChatGPT for, because it's a very much, the financial planner is a much more highly regulated industry than it is for realtors. So Nick, can you unmute yourself there, buddy, and talk for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely. And appreciate the intro there, Barry. So from a regulatory perspective, Barry, like you hit the nail on the head, like hyper regulated inside of our environment. And so in terms of things like financial planning outputs or recommendations, anything to that effect at all, we are not even coming close to thinking about using ChatGPT or any type of AI for that. The way in which you could use ChatGPT inside of a financial planning practice, and I think this extends to loan officers, realtors, really anyone else that are in comparable roles, is through a client service model. And what I mean by that is helping to draft, as an example, an ongoing service model in the form of how am I going to best serve my clients on a going forward basis? Meaning, what are the types of review meetings right now? What are the types of, if you're to look up, for instance, give me a list of the top 5 Googled searches as it relates to financial planning. That way, I, as the financial planner, can be prepared to answer those types of questions. As it relates to email, for instance, right? Oftentimes, if I'm drafting a important email, I will screen it through ChatGPT just to get a sense as to if there's anything that I might need to alter at all. And that's just really in the delivery, not the content itself. Beyond that, I would say developing the service model for as you tier out your clients. Oftentimes, you will see inside of an advisor's practice, they've listed someone as an A client versus a B client versus a C client. And I'm sure realtors and loan officers operate in a similar capacity to some degree, in which you know who your top referral partners are, for instance, right? You might want to have a slightly enhanced service model compared to someone that you would consider to be a C client. So it might be based upon revenue that's generated from them. It might be based on the number of referrals that you generate from them. And so enhancing that as an example, putting together the frequency in which we're doing outreach, the frequency in which we're having conversations, the types of, from like a gift giving perspective, right? I'll share with you inside my own model. Any of my A clients, Barry, you put me on to the cookies, right? So anyone that knows Barry and has received a box of cookies know that they are too good to stay away from. That is now incorporated into my service model. But looking for enhancements outside of that, it's really used on my side as an idea generation tool as it relates to the service model in order to give me a track to run on whenever I'm coming up with a new list of ideas and how to enhance the service model for my existing client base. I know I'm sharing a lot, but Barry, I'm curious, is there anything in particular you wanted me to dive deeper into?
No, I loved all of that. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I really loved from that, Nick, was you talking about how it helps you by creating a stream of consciousness with ideas. So
Yeah.
I'm going to actually go into that now, brother. I really appreciate you jumping on here with us. Hopefully you can stay a little longer, but I am recording this. I'll send it to you when
Yeah,
I'm done.
it's unfortunately a quick high and by on my side. I wanted to be sure to pop in, but I've actually got to run for another meeting. But no, I'm super excited to see the recording and all that comes out of that, Barry.
Awesome. So guys, now what I've done now is you guys can all see the ChatGPT screen.
Yep.
I take it. Okay, so you just go to OpenAI or just go into Google, type in ChatGPT. You're gonna log in, or if you don't have an account, you would go, it would be try ChatGPT. Now you can sign up using your email and create a password, or you can just link it up to like your Google account or whatever. Now there's a free version of ChatGPT and there is a paid version. The paid version has a little bit, it gives you more queries. It has a little bit better information. It's about 20 bucks a month, depending on how much you use it. There are free versions of ChatGPT though that you can use that has all the cool stuff, with the exception of, if you'll notice here, it has a bunch of threads. When you use ChatGPT, you're able to save these threads and go back to them later. But in this case, I'm going to use ChatGPT and I'm going to show you how a realtor might use ChatGPT if you're looking to try and increase your business. So first thing is, what we're going to do is I prepared these queries ahead of time. And by the way, guys, we're going to you don't need to memorize all of this. As I mentioned, it's going to be recorded, but we're also going to give you a written transcript of the most important things from this webinar after the webinar. But here's a query that I put. I'm a realtor in Southern California, and the community or farm that I do the majority of my business in is called Tustin Meadows in Orange County, California. And then I'm asking ChatGPT, please give me the demographics of Tustin Meadows. Now watch this. So it's researching all the public records, and it's going to give us the demographics of Tustin Meadows. Why do we want this? We want it, but we're not going to probably do much with it. But what we want is for ChatGPT to know this, because ChatGPT now is going to be logging this into its memory bank for this thread, and it's going to already know all the demographics of Tustin Meadows. So you can see now we're, I don't know, about 10 seconds into it, and now it's starting to spit out the demographics of Tustin Meadows, telling us the population and age. Notice it's starting to pick up some steam here. It's talking about the education attainment of Tustin Meadows. High levels of education are evident. 21% are holding a master's degree. Now, why do we want to know this? Because we need to know who we're trying to market to, right? We want to know the demographics of this. You guys are not statisticians, so I don't expect you to really dissect this and make something of it, but we do want ChatGPT to know this. So you'll notice it even went into cultural diversity and language, ethnic and racial composition, marital status, how long would it take you to get this information if you were trying to do this yourself? I really want you to think about that, okay? Now, the next query that we're going to put in here, since it gave us all of these demographics, is now I'm going to ask it, please give me a 10-point action plan to market to residents of Tustin Meadows that would be relevant to those demographics and be as detailed as possible. You're going to speak to ChatGPT like it was the smartest friend that you know. I have approximately 50 clients in the neighborhood, and I would like to double that amount by the end of 2024. Now, I'm also going to let ChatGPT know what day it is today because it doesn't know this. It needs to know that it almost has a year before it gives me this 10-point action plan. So I put and today is January 10th of 2024. So let's go ahead and input that and watch it do its magic. Okay, so first thing it's telling us to do is that we need to leverage local data in marketing. Use detailed demographics data to tailor your marketing message. Next one, community involvement in events. Organize and sponsor local events such as homeowner workshops, first-time buyer programs, or community gatherings. A lot of this stuff we know in this business if you're a realtor, but a lot of it you don't know. Like local SEO optimization, ensure your website and online listings are optimized for local SEO with keywords specific to Tustin Meadow. Partnerships with local businesses, video marketing, feedback and adaptation. Now, check this out. Now what we're going to do is we want to get a little deeper. Just leveraging local data and marketing is not good enough. I want it to expound on that. So all I'm going to do is say, please expound on number 1. Now watch this. So within seconds, here we go. Targeted messaging. Based on the demographics, you can create a marketing message that resonates with specific groups in Tustin Meadows. For example, knowing that there's a significant percentage of families with children, you might want to focus on properties with good access to schools or family-friendly amenities. And it goes to data-driven property listings, local market insights. And by the way, guys, you can expound again on any one of these topics. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to SEO, because unless you are an SEO website designer or you specialize in SEO optimization, chances are those are just 3 letters to you. So let's type in, please explain local SEO optimization. So now ChatGPT comes in here and goes, okay, sure, let's do this. All right, number 1, Google My Business. Claim and optimize your Google My Business listing. This is free to anybody who owns a business on Google. This is crucial for local SEO. It enables your business to appear in local search results and on Google Maps. Now, it's also giving us local keywords. Use keywords that reflect Tustin Meadows in your website. For example, Tustin Meadows real estate agent. Okay, so now what, and again, you guys can go even deeper on this. If there's something you don't understand, you can expound on local backlinks, expound on social media presence. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, since we were talking about SEO, I want it to give me the best, let's see, give me the best 15 keywords. So now it's searching the internet, it's looking at all your competitors, it's trying to find out the best keywords that you would want to have on your Google page and also on your website for that matter, if you're trying to attract buyers in Tustin Meadows or if you're trying to attract people that are selling in Tustin Meadows. These are the keywords that again, think of ChatGPT like it is the smartest friend you could ever have, that it knows the answer to everything and it has access to the world's information. Okay, now I'm going to blow your mind. Now, since we're going to do SEO optimization and we're going to try and do, let's say, a video for Tustin Meadows. For any of you guys who have done videos before, one of the hardest things is content. Actually filming the video is difficult too, but trying to create the script and what you're going to say is one of the biggest challenges. And then also actually getting in front of the camera and reading that script and sounding believable, sounding intelligent. This is also difficult. So we're going to tackle this now. So please write me a 3-minute script for social media video announcing my event at Tustin Meadows. Here's the script. Now, while this is writing the script, it's actually going to tell you where the opening shot is. It's going to tell, it's saying, here's what you're going to do. It's going to tell you which, maybe you need a new camera shot. It's going to recommend that you put the date and location in the script. Now, I'm going to show you in a minute here a really incredible tool that we use that is driven by AI that we did a video about. And I want you to understand when you're watching this that you're going to see me speak, but then also what you're going to see is you're going to see the version of Barry, who is an AI, actually talk.
Realtors, we have an incredible, really
I'm going to
great
fast
know how
forward
much
a
about
bit.
works. So let's take a look at it.
Wait, hold on.
Approximate how much you know about email marketing, but email marketing, probably you're lucky if 5% of the people open it. This is over 70% of the people that open this that will have your information month after month. Before we go too farther into this, I want to show you how this works. So let's take a look at it. Simply type myhomeiq.com in your browser search bar and hit enter. Once there, click on login and enter your credentials. Now, let me guide you through the initial screen. You'll see 4 key options.
Guys, I never said a word of any of this. This was a script that was uploaded into another AI program we use called 11 Labs, and it was able to train itself based on my voice.
Homeowners, your space for managing existing clients. Buyers, the area to attract new leads. Loan officer info, access detailed information about your loan officers. Settings, customize your profile to make it uniquely yours.
So
Wild.
I want you to know that, first of all, My Home IQ is something that we have that keeps in contact with our clients and by giving them a monthly newsletter. But My Home IQ also, you can use it to actually pinpoint the most likely people that are selling their property. And that's available to any of you that want it. I know that some of you are already using it, some not so much, but that is available for you. And that video will be online and we'll be able to give that to you at some point here in the near future. Before I go away from this, I also want to talk about Anthropic. So
Real quick,
Claude,
I just want to tie those two together because I think it's mind-boggling. Clearly, as tech savvy as I like to think I am, Barry is the tech master of the team and of the family. And the idea that you can put in your information, have it spit out ideas for you, and then take that idea and expound on it, and then have it create an entire script for a video and then theoretically feed that into a different AI tool, 11 Labs, like you talked about, where it can then make the video for you, is just mind-boggling. The amount of time, again, I think the big thing to take away is leveraging these tools, whether it's real estate, financial planning, whatever, if you're knitting, being able to leverage these tools to save and maximize your time is, I think, the main takeaway. And that's really what we're getting out of it. And that's why we wanted to share this. The reality is, if you didn't gather, the world is moving at an exponential pace. And if you don't harness these tools, or at least have an understanding of them, your competition is. There are people out there that are doing it, that are maximizing their time, and they're doing these things so that they have more belly to bellies. They're doing more things with clients and getting out in the world and making money. So I think that's the big takeaway that I had from really putting this together. And again, I thought it was just fascinating that you can get a script put together for you and then feed that to your other AI assistant. And then you have an army of AI assistants that are free for you, or at a low cost.
Yeah, and one of the things that Shane didn't bring up that we were talking about earlier is we actually have an agent out in Nevada who, just on a whim, there was a new a new construction project that seemed to be getting a lot of attention. He went out there with a camera and just videotaped himself saying, hey, here's this new, and went through and showed a couple of the different models. And he wasn't super slick or anything like that. He put it onto YouTube, put in the right keywords, and within a few days had three new clients, three people that set up an appointment with him that wanted to go see this new property. So imagine if you take this technology and you're in your farm and you're taking videos and you've got pictures of the parks and all of the most important things about this neighborhood, and you're able to create this script using AI, deliver it perfectly, while in the background, you're just showing images of the community, and then you post that online with the right keywords. This will help you generate more business. Now, we got a question from one of our realtors that is in the meeting here with us, Janet. She says, does Google recognize when it's AI? In other words, if you're doing a video for SEO, will it actually help if it's AI generated? The answer to that is they are now coming out where YouTube and Facebook will be able to recognize if it's AI generated. And I don't think it helps or hurts, but it will annotate to that person that the video they're watching is AI generated. There you have the answer to that. M says, can you put your major AI tools to use in the chat, or do you have them listed somewhere? We're actually going to be we're starting a newsletter that's going to go out with every new tool that comes out. We are literally researching dozens of tools each week, trying to figure out the best ones. We have a great tool called Descript that does video editing using AI that'll clean up the voice. It'll allow you to take out the ums and ahs, like literally just by clicking a button, and it'll remove the ums and ahs. And so each webinar that we do, we're going to be going over different tools. And we've also created, Shane and I mentioned to everybody, we're creating a new company called 4IR Education, which 4IR is the acronym for Fourth Industrial Revolution. And our goal is to try and educate 1 billion people. It sounds lofty, but believe it or not, guys, there are AI avatars, like literal people that you look at that look like it's me, that will talk. And that is not me. It's a script that's fed to it, and it will actually translate it into 300 different languages. So I could do a video in English, and it will turn around and take that video and turn it into Japanese, Mandarin, you name it, Spanish. We're going to educate 1 billion minds. It sounds very lofty, but I do believe it's possible. We're going to have courses available. We're giving these away, by the way, especially to our referral partners. But at the beginning, we're going to be giving the education away. By the way, this website is just gotten started. Don't bother going there to sign up for courses. When the courses are ready, we're going to notify you guys, and you can go on and you can take the course. You'll be able to watch video. There'll be text there. There'll be questions. There'll be quizzes on there. So, and we're going to have a list of all of the different AI tools that we find to be the most valuable on this website. Great question. Lastly, I just want to touch on Anthropic Claude 2. Whereas ChatGPT is it's my favorite, but it's also can be very antiseptic. Claude 2 speaks more in everyday terms. So I'll often put something in ChatGPT, I'll take it and I'll put it into Claude 2 and I'll say, rewrite this for me. And it will rewrite it in a way that's more of a human type of a language cadence. Claude 2, ChatGPT are both free. They do have a paid version. If you go over too many questions on Claude 2, it will start wanting to charge you, but I've never reached that level yet. And you can also upload entire documents into Claude 2. Let's say that you've got, well, here, just to show, you can sign into Claude 2 by creating an account just using Google. I want to show you guys something real quick because I just passed a course for executive leadership, transformative leadership, and they've asked me to write the curriculum for the strategic AI for the University of Colorado Springs. I want to show you something that they were doing and how I handled this. They were giving me articles and I was expected to read all of the articles. You'll notice there's a lot of citations here, right? Reading this, I'm telling you guys, it was like, I can't even describe to you how difficult it was. Talking about synchronous and asynchronous and bicronous learning. All I did was copy this, and I'm not going to bother you with it now. I copied this, and I put it into ChatGPT. I pasted it, and I said, summarize this. And then I said, summarize it in bullet points. And so, and that may sound like it's cheating to you, but it's not. What it's doing is it's making this easier for me to understand. I was able to understand it better than I was if I were reading it. College students are doing this all over the world right now. And Em, I know that you are using ChatGPT for some of the stuff that you're already doing. I think Shane said you mentioned that you're using it to go through inspection reports. Can you just unmute yourself and share with everybody how you're using it?
Yeah, do you actually mind if I turn on my camera?
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Love to see you.
Okay, I'm a person-to-person girly, but yeah, so basically I don't use it all the time. I should be using it it's funny because when I'm really busy, I don't use it as much as I should. But we, in my office, a lot of us use it for when we get our inspection reports. You can put the entire report into, if you pay for the ChatGPT, that one you could put the full report in, upload it. I use the free version. So I copy and paste the entire thing and put it into there. And I'll say, what are the most important? What are the biggest safety issues? How much are the costs? This is the location. And I'll tell it kind of everything as to where I am. And then it'll give me a full list as to what's the most important, what's the biggest pricing and whatnot that'll need to get fixed. So I use it a lot for the inspections is a big thing. I also mentioned beforehand that I researched the information rather than saying like, this is a matter of fact. So I say, just so you know, this is just what I've researched, because a lot of people don't like to pay for another inspection printout of what it's going to cost or an estimate. So I'll just say, look, I researched it for you. This is what I came up with. And then I give it to them from there. And then I put the pictures alongside with it. And then I also do it for how you were doing it earlier, I do a high note for all of my clients. And so a high note basically is just like my picture, that's the house, everything like that. And then I'll go into the city, whatever city I'm looking into. I'll say, my power is going out. I'll say, what are the biggest things to do? What are the biggest parks in the area? Depending if it's someone that is looking for a vacation home versus someone with kids versus I'll play it per person, but I'll do what are the highlights of each city, because I'm not an expert on every single place. I am on my hometowns and locally, but I don't know what's going on in La Habra today. So I I definitely like use that to in my little back pocket.
That's
That's it.
awesome. Thanks, Em. One of the
Yeah,
things
that's
she
great.
just pointed out that I think maybe it was you guys all caught it, but when she does that inspection report and she says, what are the problems? What are the issues? You can ask ChatGPT, I don't know what the actual costs of these are. Can you give me an approximation of what these would cost to fix? And it will search the database. And remember, it's searching hundreds of millions of websites looking for pricing or whatever you're asking it for, so it can put it on the screen for you. Now, I encourage you not to just take it as law.
Scripture. Yeah.
But yeah, you should be able to have this. And then now you can actually check in with your local plumber or whoever it is to see whether or not it's accurate. But it's the amount of time that this would save you is just unbelievable. Not to mention with a lot of other complicated documents that you guys have to deal with in your everyday business. So I'm going to switch back to the slideshow. And I want to put some takeaways here for you guys to give. And remember, you don't have to memorize this. You don't even have to write it down because we're going to send this to you. So here are some tips I want you to take away. Number one is that there is a sequence of prompts. Prompting is the way that you're asking the question to ChatGPT. That's what we call a prompt. A prompt really needs three things. Number one is goal. What is the goal in asking the questions? For instance, I want to list 25 new homes this year. And in order to do that, I need to meet 100 new home sellers. I don't know what your conversion rate is, but if your conversion rate is 80%, then put that in there. You're letting ChatGPT know there's a difference between you getting a listing and how many people you need to meet with. The second thing you need is you need to add some context to it. ChatGPT is not going to know this. For instance, you want to say, I am a realtor. I've been in the business for 10 years. My farm or the area where I try to do business is known as Tustin Meadows, if that's whatever the community may be. I currently have 45 clients in that neighborhood. So now we're letting ChatGPT know the context. And lastly is action. Please give me the demographics of Tustin Meadows and give it to me in bullet points. That's the other thing I didn't point out there, guys. Like when it gives you an answer, you could say, great, can you give this to me in bullet points? And it will give it to you in bullet points. Now, next, use natural language. In other words, speak to it like you would a person. Although ChatGPT does not understand some acronyms, sometimes it does. Ask ChatGPT to expound on answers. Now, guys, the one thing I was going to make is funny. Speak to it like you would a person. Like I've found myself saying please to ChatGPT and thank you. ChatGPT doesn't, they will say you're welcome, but it doesn't, you don't have to do that. I just wanted to know the AI future overlords that I was nice. So that's why I ask please and
You're just a
thank
nice
you.
guy.
So
Yeah.
if the answer is complex, ask ChatGPT to explain it to you like a 5-year-old. That sounds a little silly too, right? But I mean, the way it's going to answer you is going to be probably over a 5-year-old's head, but you're basically saying, look, I don't understand this. Can you please really break it down for me? And it will do that. ChatGPT has the ability to write lengthy text, and it also has the ability to summarize lengthy text, just like I told you with that article. I copied it, it got rid of all the citations, it summarized it for me. Then I said, put it in bullet points. And then I asked it some questions about what it meant, and it answered me. By the time it was over with, what would have normally taken me hours to really understand that article, I was able to do it in a matter of 20 to 30 minutes. I fully understood the paper. Now, use ChatGPT to simplify complex problems you're having by explaining what your problem is and asking it for ideas. For instance, let's say you have an important email. This happened to me yesterday, you guys. For instance, let's say you have an important email that you need to send in and you're afraid it might come off as unprofessional. Maybe you're a little heated by whatever the email that came to you. Last thing in the world you want to do is send a heated email, right? Put that email into the chat, into ChatGPT, and ask it to rewrite it in a more professional or casual or even friendly manner. So that's what I did. And I put the entire thread of the email. I put what the initial question was, what the answer, what the response was, and then I put my final response and I said, please write this in a more professional, friendly manner. And it took this email that could have likely come off as being very aggravated, and it made it super professional. You guys can do that. We're talking seconds. If it recommends a specific action and you don't understand the action, the next question should be, please expound on that, or please explain it to me like I was a 5-year-old. So guys, you heard me talk about the fourth industrial revolution. It is on us right now. Things are happening so quickly that you're not even going to recognize society in the next 5 years. And I'm going to show you the different areas that the fourth industrial revolution is transforming. Number one is manufacturing with automation, robotics, 3D printing, smart factories. Healthcare, we've got telemedicine. AI diagnosis is able to diagnose if you've got a little tiny spot that is invisible to the human eye that you might have cancer. Genomics, they're saying in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to have a cure for every disease that ails us in society, like cancer, Alzheimer's, all because of the convergence of AI with genomics. So the fourth industrial revolution isn't just one thing, it's the convergence of all these. It's AI helping robotics. It's AI helping genomics, AI helping diagnosis, transportation with autonomous vehicles, drones. I don't know if you guys have seen the Hyperloop, but we're going to be able to take this Hyperloop from Los Angeles to San Francisco, I think in less than an hour. Financial services, we're able to use blockchain on our phones, mobile payments, robo-advisors. Energy, I've got a $68,000 Tesla solar system on my house because I have a 4,500 square foot house. And when I bought it, my electric payment the first month was $800. I got a solar system and now it's less than $350. Information technology, we all have 5G on our phones. It's even going to get better. Internet of Things are utilities or machines that you may have in your home that have technology that communicates on the internet to each other. That's what the Internet of Things are. Quantum computing is coming. And when that happens, guys, it's game over. And augmented reality is a thing. Agriculture with precision farming, hydroponics, biotech, it's all going to improve greater yields. They have vertical farms that are popping up all over the world right now because the major cost you're paying for lettuce or fruits and vegetables is the cost to transport it from farm to table. If you can take a building and fill it with machinery that can grow things with 10% of the water, no pesticides, and AI is monitoring the water to make sure it's the perfect alkalinity to grow the perfect vegetable, you're going to be able to get that for a fraction of the cost. And also retail, you've seen all the retail stores closing down. Retail has completely changed right before our eyes in the last 10 years. I use Amazon, I'm ashamed to admit it, more than I should admit. Education, adaptive learning, VR training, AI tutors. People in third world countries are getting world-class education through AI and the internet. And media and entertainment, I just showed you my voice being cloned. We also have, virtual agents that will show you as an actual avatar talking. They're creating actual films using only AI and using AI to write the scripts. They're using AI also to determine whether or not, I was watching a video on this company in the Netherlands that they use AI to look at scripts and to determine which scripts are the most likely to be a hit at the box office and who should star in it, by the way. Guys, that was about as much as I could fit into an hour. What I would say to all of you is that we want you to stay with us because it's just starting. We are going to do everything we can to try and help you to understand this and to try and use it. There are hundreds of thousands of videos on YouTube that speak in a different language that you probably won't understand. I watch them all and I understand most of it, but most of you guys would be lost. Our goal is not to compete with that. Our goal is to talk to people that don't even know where to begin, that are afraid of AI. They're afraid of diving into it because it might be over their head. We want to simplify it. We want to pick out the best stuff and we want to show it to you. The next webinar we do is going to be about using AI for videos and for editing. We're going to have curriculum set up. But the only way we're going to be able to stay in touch with you is if you're engaged. We want you to show up. If you find somebody that you think this would help, tell them about us. We would love to be able to share this with them. But if you're a realtor and you have a lender that's doing a good job, but they're not helping you do this, I would suggest you might want to talk to us about partnering up with us, because some of our realtors that are in this meeting right now will tell you we do an incredible job, but we also go out of our way to try and help them grow their business. So I don't know if that's what you're getting with your lender now, but if you are, God bless you and God bless your lender. We're not trying to get rid of good lenders out there, but we do set ourselves apart by taking an active role in trying to help you grow your business. With that said, son, is there anything I missed?
I don't think so. I think we covered pretty much everything. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Again, an hour is a lot, but also not enough to cram all this in. Carol, thanks for the kind words. And I completely agree. It is our trusty new tool. It's our other assistant that we otherwise would have to pay for or go find, and we have it at our fingertips. Thanks, Barbara. As Barry mentioned, we're going to try and summarize this. Emily asked about some of the programs that we're using. We'll make sure we get that out, the newsletter, to everybody. And again, to just hammer home this point, if you don't know where to start, let's talk. Let's set up a meeting. We'll really dive into what your business looks like now, where you want it to be. It's only fitting that it's January, and you know how we can escalate and really exponentially grow your business in this year and beyond. Barry, that was beautiful. And yeah, appreciate y'all being here. Hey,
I'm
Carol.
gonna put in the chat down here. If you guys want to set up a follow-up meeting with me because there's things you didn't understand or you want to talk about, please just click that link, set up a meeting with me, and we'll talk about what you didn't understand. I'll try to help you. Love to do it. Carol, my favorite Carol.
I have a question. Are you guys going to send the link of the recording, and can we pass it on to friends, other realtors, clients, to let them know about your service and what you're doing? But also, I think a lot of people are going to be blown away by this tool. Would that be okay with you guys?
100%. You've heard Carol is one of our biggest cheerleaders.
You guys have only made me look good my whole career. So thank you.
She's always telling other realtors about us, and we've gotten some great relationships out of that. Same thing with Esther. All of you, all the people that are in here right now, they're, for the most part, most of them are realtors. When you introduce us to a new realtor or a new financial planner, that is the gift that keeps giving. That is as good as introducing us to one of your clients, because we're probably going to get more business from them. Please, yes, share this. Feel free, share this, and encourage them to reach out to us so we can keep them in the loop. And let's start growing this community. Last thing I wanted to say is we are creating a Facebook private community just for all of you and the other people that are part of this, so we can start sharing ideas and questions and get, maybe there's things you want to learn in the next webinar. In this community, you'll be able to go and talk to us and talk to each other. We'll send you the link for that. Any other questions anybody's got before we stop this? All right. Guys, thank you so much. This was a passion project. And if you haven't been able to figure it out, man, I could talk about this stuff all day. In fact, Shane said, if I'm having Shane will come on and I'm being a little bummed out. I don't know, maybe I'm worried about something, 10 or 15 minutes in. He's, what's wrong, Dad? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. And he's like, you haven't talked about AI or anything like in the first 15 minutes. Like that's usually how every conversation starts out with us. So thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, everybody. Janet, thank you. And I'll get this link once it's rendered. We'll get it over to you guys. Please feel free to share it. And I look forward to seeing you again.
All
Take
right.
care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.